Hello everyone and welcome to another TVP. And now I've brought you guys quite a few TVPs, quite a few games. So much in fact that my replay folder for good TVP games is kind of non-existent. So in order to rectify that problem, I laddered for about 3 or 4 hours this morning with the intent of bringing you guys some good TVPs, some good interesting TVP games. But unfortunately, every Protoss opponent that I played went for either Blink or Oracle, so yeah. Maybe not the most interesting. I mean, it could still be interesting, but not the most diverse thing in the world. Already our opponent is going to be very annoying with this Protoss. Man, it seems like Protoss is just so good at harassing. Like, if you want to harass, just go Protoss. And he does delay our bunker a little bit, which of course is going to delay our push as well. But that's okay. I mean, no harm, no foul. We'll account for that. Man, I miss the good old days where the Protoss would just straight up aim for late game, just straight up go for Colossus play into Blink. Not because Blink was good for harass, but because Blink is good for defense, and that was the whole point. Now it seems standard for Protoss is like Oracle or Blink, and of course this guy's going to be very, very standard. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay, alright. So we scout our opponent, he has mined 150 gas, and the Chrono Boost has reacted up like crazy because, well, probably because of probe harass, and he probably probably can't multitask enough to do the Chrono Boost and probe harass. And you can see the worker count, he's not where he should be. He should be a little bit more ahead, but oh well. And our opponent does try to scout what we're doing, and of course we do block this. In the protection tab, our opponent is going for Mothership, probably for photon overcharge, and a stalker, probably for some scouting information. And it is a little bit after 5, so we do move out with 9 Marines. Our opponent, of course, is going to be scouting as well with a stalker. Yeah. And we do intercept mid-map, and it gets pushed back all the way to his main, where the Mothership core is happily dancing La Bamba, and then until the Marines interrupt its very passionate dance for some nice tender harassment. Then we do get a couple of probes, it's very nice. We do engage with the main army, try to get as much as we can done. The Mothership core does go down, but gets the photon overcharge done. And of course, not half a bad exchange. We get one last little stalker here, and let's see what the damage is. Okay, so we got four workers, maybe 3 just because we got the first scouting worker. And in the unit loss tab, we got quite a few stalkers. So yeah, 850 resources lost from him. Good for us, very good for us. And let's see what he's going for. Alright, so he's going for... Well, the Mothership is going for more dancing, that's good for her. Our opponent is going for Twilight Council and +1 armor. And it looks like he intercepts our forces in the field. Very good for him. But not enough stalkers to really do anything. And this is going to interrupt the Mothership's core passionate dancing once again. And here we go into the main. We do scout the Twilight Council, very good. And we get the Mothership core. Our opponent does throw down the photon overcharge and clean up the Marines. I think I would have preferred to just get some probes here in the natural, but I suppose this is fine. And this is a little bit weird. It seems like our opponent just went Blink as a reaction to losing all that he lost. Just because Blink should normally be done by now, if you're going off 2 base. And our opponent is not really aiming to do anything. I mean, our opponent lost his Mothership core, so it's still dancing. Quite mesmerizing. Now, because I know that I took out the Mothership core, I know that he can't just Blink because he doesn't have high ground vision. So I'm not really too scared. If your opponent is trying to just overtake your natural, just build a bunker. Another thing, if you don't have the time to build a bunker, just bring like 5 or 6 SCVs and you'll be good. Now, Stim is done. Our opponent still has it into attack, so I'm thinking he's probably not going for Blink after all. Of course, as I move out, he blinks. He blinks inside. He does take out the upgrades. Our opponent does see our push coming in the middle of the map just because he had a stalker placed, and he recalls. Oh, that's very annoying. Of course, he does Blink up in here in the main, and I do try to chase this down. I think I would have been in a way better position to try and focus fire the Nexus just because we were Marauder heavy. Like, we had a good maybe 10 to 12 Marauders, and, well, the stalkers don't really do that much damage. I mean, look at this. 10 damage and weapon speed is 1.44. So this is less DPS than Marine does. Yeah, that's kind of bad. And the photon overcharge, it doesn't really do that much damage either. I mean, it has a ton of HP, so you can't bring it down. And the stalkers have a ton of HP, but it really don't do that much damage. And I think that it would have been better just to try and take down the Nexus, because he's trying to transition to Storm here. He's not really going for blink play, he's just trying to transition. And of course we scout his army movement coming back. We do try to corner him, but meh. This push is just really to push him away from my base, just so I can buy some time for the reinforcements to push out, because I do have 12 Raxes behind this. This is a good amount of Raxes. And with that many Raxes, your reinforcements is enough to take on the opponent's army. And we actually catch the Mothership core once again in the middle of the map. Ooh, tries to recall, but not this time. And Storm is almost done, but our opponent is not done yet. So of course he's going to try and delay by as much time as possible just for Storm. And he does force a stim out of me, and I'm going to try and pincer this army. So what's going on? What I'm going to do here is just divide the army, send the weak army to try and do as much damage as I can, while trying to pick up as many stalkers as I can here with this army. And of course, we do get a good amount of stalkers. Here, our opponent reveals Storm. Storm is finished, we lose our army, but whatever, it's fine. And behind this, we're not actually in a bad place, because if you look at the income tab, we're ahead with 63 workers, because our opponent didn't really harass. He took down the upgrades, but didn't really do anything. He just recalled back into the main, so we didn't really have a chance to take down the workers. So we're not in a bad shape. We're even ahead in the workers. The disadvantage lies in the upgrades for us, though. Like right now we have 1-1 just started. Well, not started, but it's almost finished. But so is our opponent's +3 armor. And the reasons our upgrades are so low is because once again he took out the NG base with the stalkers. Now, because I'm a little bit behind and I'm fearing a little bit, I'm going to try and force some storms out, which I do get, and unfortunately for me, I don't really dodge like I should. That's okay though. What I'm thinking right here is that okay, I know that I didn't lose that many workers, so as long as I can stall and not take too much damage so that I can catch up on the upgrades, I should be okay for the late game. I mean, I'm weak now in terms of upgrades, and because of that, the army size might be a little bit iffy. But if I can just survive until I can catch up on the upgrades, I'll be okay. And behind this, our opponent is going to try and put on some pressure, because of course he did scout this, and we're going to try and force out some storms, waste some storms. That's what I say. 1 storm wasted, 2 storm wasted. That one doesn't do that much either, so might as well be wasted. I do scan to see his energy on the Templars, and he does waste 8 more storms. And that's a good storm, that's a really good storm. And I thought that I wasted all the storms, but I miscalculated, and because of that I do lose quite a few things. Now, our opponent is going for something very cheeky here. If you look at the upgrades, he has +3 armor, no weapons. So in other words, the only thing that can really do damage is the storm. Everything else is just a chump blocking unit. Something to just buy some time so he can land some storms out. And this is a pretty good transition for our opponent. Now of course he has no more storms, so the damage dealing is no longer there. That was last storm. Just had barely enough energy, so I'm still a little bit cautious because just in case he has some storms. And 2 Templars are going to do something rather... Anyway, so we're going to get rid of this Mothership core. The Mothership core doesn't really do that much damage, so he got a couple of kills, but not too many. And of course, we bought some time for our upgrades to even out somewhat. And in the income tab, our opponent does have a 3rd and has caught up more or less in the income tab. And here, we're going to have fun just drawing our opponent's attention while also attacking the 3rd. This is very important because I know I have a pretty good econ lead. And of course, I do get the Nexus, a couple of probes, and also the Mothership core again. Poor Mothership core, all it wanted to do was stay. Right, so we do lose the army, but that's okay because in the end we've bought some time for an even bigger army to show up. We've pretty much killed off our opponent's 3rd, and this 3rd is not ready yet. So our opponent is on two bases. The mining bases is like Yeah, it's still one base. One mining base. And I eat a storm. Whoops. I'm going to try and force some more storms, as usual. So that storm is not really useful. That's a very useful storm with that one. So the storm control isn't too bad. The storm dodging isn't too bad either. The production tabs. So we have +3 just started, +2 vehicle is going to be done. And I'm going to get tanks because tanks are really good here. Our opponent, of course, is feeling the pressure because we are ahead economically. I mean, we have a fifth base here and some factories. We're going to try and harass. We eat a couple storms. We can't exactly get out of there just because the blink stalkers are there. And of course, I'm going to try and just do more damage. We draw our opponent's attention just with this harassment. I mean, it worked last time, but it wouldn't work this time. And behind this, the real damage will be done when I'm going to try and take out our opponent's newly and our opponent does get a couple good storms here, but he still loses third. And behind this, ooh, that's a not bad storm. That's storms is really what's good here. I mean, he doesn't have any other form of AoE, so he needs to land the storms. And of course, good storms. But in the end, our opponent is not really mining from this base. I mean, 25 minerals left. He doesn't have a third, so he needs to do damage, and he needs to do damage now. Unfortunately, our opponent does not do damage, does not even want to try and do damage. He's just going to try and defend, which buys us even more time to get our upgrades, and we're going to start to eke out an advantage soon. Now, since we bought enough time for our medevacs to heal and for our tanks to go have some fun there, we should be okay. And a couple storms, mostly whiffed. Nothing too important to say here. I'm going to start to siege. This is a little bit dangerous to go this far ahead, just because it's easy for our opponent to kill off the tanks. But that's okay. The point was to get as many workers as possible. And with tanks now, it's hard for him to engage our army, because you can't just sneak a storm in. The tanks will take out the templars, so he needs to pretty much aim it. And of course, we're going to try and draw him into the tank line to tank fire, because we can. One storm sort of whiffed, sort of back into it. And from here on out, I'm just going to try and force some more storms, because I feel like it. That's not half a bad storm, but it doesn't kill anything. That storm kills a couple things, but now he's kind of low on storms. And with the low econ, he doesn't really have much to replenish this. This is a Templar. And from here on out, the game is pretty much over, because he hasn't won, he hasn't really done much. Force more storms, we try to force out more, but of course good defense for our opponent. And I'm going to speed this up a little bit more, because here is where the game ends. We're going to take a good portion of, well, maybe half of the army, and we're just going to force so many storms out. Which of course our opponent falls for it. So now that the army is dead, we can take the real army and kill him. Because tanks are good for forcing engagement. You might not be able to force engagement with ghosts or something, but with tanks you can always force engagement. And he does land really good storms, but unfortunately for him, guys just have too much. And GT transition just doesn't work out for him. And from here on out, I'm pretty sure he GG's. So more pressure, more everything. Alright, so here, this was a nice game because it showed us that even though our opponent went for some weird little blink stalker thingy, we're okay, and we will always be okay, because blink stalkers are not really that great at doing damage if they hit later. And transitioning out of blink stalkers is a little bit hard for our opponent to do. He needs to sacrifice some of the stalkers for that. If you ever run into blink stalkers, don't panic. Just remember, once stim finishes, you can pretty much engage the blink stalkers. And once you engage the blink stalkers, he doesn't have AoE, so your bio should be even better than it usually would be. So I hope you guys like this game, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now, guys.